All right, everyone, it's time for our Bible class to begin. If you would, just have a seat. Thank you so much. And while we're getting ready for our Bible class, just one announcement. Talked to Sonia Hames. She said that she did get her biopsy back on Friday and she got good results. And so I wanted to update that prayer list. And so we're very glad to hear that. I mentioned a little bit before the sermon, but Nathan and I were in school together, as well as his wife, Christy. In fact, his wife, Christy, now with a few others, took a road trip across the country to Southeast Georgia one time. So that was an interesting time. And but appreciate them and their hard work in Tanzania. If you've read the Ferguson's updates, their newsletters that they send out, you can tell that there's just a lot going on at the mission that Nathan's going to fill you in. There's agricultural work, there's spiritual work. There is one of the largest hospitals in Tanzania in that region, which is functioning through the mission work. And so there's just all types of stuff going on. And the Fergusons, they've got personal needs. They also have work needs. The congregation is going to help with their upcoming missions giving next month. But also there might be some things that you might see that you want to contribute to personally. But without any further ado, I'll turn over to Nathan.
All right. Well, thanks, Isaac. I feel like I'm about to eat this thing, so if I bite onto it, I apologize. It is so good to be with you this morning. I'm again thankful for the opportunity that you've given to me to kind of steal this class away from you for this morning. Thanks for Isaac for kind of giving a little bit of information about the work that we are part of. I'm going to pick on him for just 1 second, though. It is true. I did live in Arusha, Tanzania, when I grew up as a child. But we don't work there now in Arusha. Arusha is actually another town, and I don't expect you to know all the different towns in Tanzania. But we're in CHIMALA, which is now the other side of the country. So I just had to pick on you for that one thing. But again, so great to be with you this morning. We're so grateful for your continued support for the CHIMALA mission and for our family. We know how mission-minded the church here is at Chapel Hill, and we thank you for your continued works all over the world that you're a part of, and certainly and especially for our family and the work in CHIMALA mission. Very quickly, I'll just kind of run through kind of our background, who we are and what we do. As you said, my name is Nathan Ferguson, and my wife, Christy, and we have 4 children, Eden, Emmy, Rowan, and our newborn, Ava. I'm really going to eat this. I feel it coming in my mouth. It's like I don't know what it is. Is this any better? Maybe not so popping so much. But my family's with us here, and we're grateful to be here with you. We work with the CHIMALA mission, and CHIMALA is in the southern highlands of the country of Tanzania. They're on the eastern side of the continent of Africa. And we have been working with CHIMALA since 2020 in a stateside position for about a year, and then we moved full-time in 2021. And I believe that's when the Chapel Hill congregation began helping us with our support as we've been working there. But the CHIMALA mission is, as Isaac said, it's a very large operation. It really has 5 distinct areas to it, and I wish I had time. I could spend an hour on each one of these areas that we work with. But very quickly and briefly, just to give you an oversight of the distinct areas in the CHIMALA mission, beginning with the schools. We have 2 schools, and I'll talk about these in a moment. CSOP, which is the CHIMALA School of Preaching, a preacher training school, which is also on the mission on the campus. Our hospital, we have a farm program, and then the estate operations. And I'll go into detail a little bit about each of these quickly, and then we'll go into a little bit about our work specifically that our family is a part of. How long do I have, by the way? 11:30. Perfect. All right, so quickly, and I apologize if you can't read this. It's okay. They're just kind of blurbs about the schools. But we have 2 main schools on the mission, the CHIMALA Mission Primary School and the Herring Christian Secondary School. And so it basically encapsulates a K through 12 education program on the mission, beginning with preschool up into Form 4, which is the final class that we provide. And so the primary school, we have about 400 to 500 students every year. And then on the secondary school, we have about 120 students. And so these are 2 pretty large schools in the area. They are boarding schools, so the students come and they stay with us throughout the year. And so these are all kids that we get to work with, kids that we have Bible classes, we teach them, we have devotionals, we have Bible studies with them because they're on our mission, and it's a private Bible school. And so we have a lot of kids that come through our way, and many of these come from all over the country to stay with us. The primary school started in 1991, and the Herring Christian School started in 2004. And so they've been a kind of a staple in that area, and they've grown throughout the years, and a very vital and important part to the work at CHIMALA. The CHIMALA School of Preaching, the second area, is our preacher training school. CHIMALA School of Preaching basically has a concept, as many other schools of preaching do, of training preachers to then go and evangelize back into their local communities. And this work since 2019 has been completely independent. And so all of our teachers, all of our instructors who are teaching at the school currently right now were all previous graduates of CHIMALA School of Preaching. And so we normally intake between 10 to 20 students every 2 years. It's a 2-year program. They get a certificate, graduate, and then they go back to their homes and they work with their local congregations. Some of them do evangelism in other areas. But this was our last class, and they will actually be graduating in October in just a few weeks. So be praying for this class. This is the 24-25 class, and some wonderful gospel preachers who are going to be coming out of this class and then back to their homes. But the CSOP program overall is a lot more than just the training school itself. All of our evangelism seminars, campaigns, all of those things come from CSOP and the leaders there and the director that works there. And so we have a lot of different things that come from that when we do weekend evangelism. We always work together as a team on our weekend evangelism trips. We have World Bible School, the Gospel Chariot, that comes with us every year for our summer campaigns, and we reach about 4 to 5 different congregations who are requesting help. And so the students can go, they can practice. We have a lot of good preachers that come around that help in the outdoor preaching. We have Bible classes in the morning, Bible studies with those who want to do studies with us. And then the fun part is the outdoor preaching in the evenings throughout that entire month. Basically every single day, weekday, we're out doing outdoor preaching, and it's always a wonderful time and a great evangelistic opportunity as a part of the CHIMALA School of Preaching. Then the CHIMALA Mission Hospital. So this is now the third area on the mission. This hospital, as Isaac said, it's one of the largest hospitals in the region, and in the CHIMALA ward, it is the largest hospital, but it's 128 beds. You can see some of the parts of the hospital, some of the treatments that are done there, some of the services that are provided at this hospital. I will give you a little update. We have been facing some financial challenges at the hospital, mostly due to a lowering of patients. And one of the biggest reasons is because the government is placing a lot of these public health centers where they offer free service, and they just pop up all over the place. And so there's a lot of things that they're just taking care of for these people at no cost. And so we've been losing some patients to those free services. And so we're trying to look at some other areas where, we would be the only ones that could offer certain services. And of course, our quality of care is much better than many of those public services. But it is something that we're praying to find some solutions for, and we have some good men and women helping get us back to where we want to be. But it's a very important part of the mission. It's vital to helping the local community. We have 2 chaplains that work in the hospital, and they visit every single patient that comes in before they're discharged, before they leave. They meet with our chaplains. And so it's another great evangelistic opportunity there at the hospital. And then the farm program. This is the newest program, started in 2019, right before I started. But this is one of the areas, along with CSOP, that I spend most of my time working with. And as you know by now, the farm program's purpose is to turn the mission into a self-supported mission, a self-supported operation. The CHIMALA mission, as well as how most missions operate for decades, has been under the support of American churches. Really since the early 50s, the mission has been under the oversight of congregations with elderships, and money has been sent every single month for probably almost 70 years to the mission. And so our goal, what our vision is to find a way for that support to really be coming from internal, from within the mission. We have a lot of land, we have a lot of resources available to us, and we want to use those things to turn the mission into a self-supporting operation. You can see some of the things in the pictures here. You can see some of the new coffee plants we were planting, some of the construction I'll talk about in a minute. Cattle that we're running right now up on the Elsa property, some land we were preparing, and inside one of the chicken houses. But our focus is mostly on agriculture and livestock, and what we produce from those things will go right back into the mission. So the things like CSOP, where we raise money for the campaigns, we raise money to, for teachers to come and travel. We want to just be able to support that ourselves. We don't want to have to ask for money or have to, so to speak, so that those things can happen. We want them to just always be able to happen. And we want to be able to provide that from within the mission. So the farm program is very, very vital to that. It's very, very important. We've had a lot of growth, and especially on the cattle side. We have a good brother in Cossie, Texas, he's raised cattle his whole life, and so he is wanting to really help us kind of jumpstart the cattle program, but alongside as well as our chickens, our broilers, and agriculture and gardens and those things on the mission as well. So a vital piece, a vital component to the mission. Again, one area that I'm a big part of as well. And then the estate. The estate technically is the fifth part of the mission, but this basically encapsulates the rest of the mission. So, we run nearly 700 acres of property that we have to maintain and take care of. And so, as you can imagine, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of resources. And so it's a vital part of the well-being of the mission. We have challenges there, not unlike some that you may have here when it comes to electricity, when it comes to water, when it comes to equipment breaking down, buildings that need repaired. All of those kinds of things fall under this final category of the mission. But without good workers on the estate, without a good team who's in control of those kinds of things, the mission would, of course, literally fall apart without these good people on the team. And so those are the 5 main areas of the mission, and they all, again, encapsulate sort of the vision of the CHIMALA mission. Our goal, as with any mission work, is of course to seek and to save the lost, and in all of those areas respectively do so, but also make sure that the other areas, they work together, they kind of lift each other up to make sure that those things all take place. These are just kind of a few collages of some of the things that have happened really over the past 2 years since the last time I've been with you guys. The most important one, I put number 1. Which one's the laser? The lasery looking one is. Well, you may not be able to see it, but you can tell which one is the most important one. Our new baby, Ava Jane, was born last December. And so she's our 4th addition, our latest addition to our family. Her big brother, Rowan, holding her. This is just a few days after her birth. But Ava Jane was born in Tanzania. We had a midwife come. She was actually from Canada, but she works with a team that travels all over the world and helping missionaries deliver babies. And so she came with us, or she came on her own, I should say, and helped us deliver at home. And so we had her with us, and of course we had the hospital if they're just in any case of any kinds of emergencies. This family there on the top right, this is a new missionary family that joined us last year, Lee and Tara Wright. This is the brother from Cossie, Texas. His 2 children, Emily and Brody. And Lee joined us last summer, the end of last summer, in 2024, and has been with us ever since. He grew up raising cattle, but he's also a faithful gospel preacher, evangelist, and so he's been a great addition, someone we can work with and work together. Some of you may know, really the past 4 years or so, we were really the only missionary family at CHIMALA, and so it was a big blessing to have another family join us and work with us, because sometimes you need some support, you need some care, and you need some venting, if you will, about some of the things that you have challenges with. And so they've been a great family for us, a great addition to the team, and a very, very hard worker for the Lord's kingdom. These are just a few other kind of things that have been going on, as I said, really the past few years. Continuing, with the schools, we have opportunities, of course, to always be teaching to those children. We have, of course, Bible classes for them during the school year, during the school week, but also in the evenings, we have kind of their version of dorm devotionals. And in fact, just before we left, I think either the week before or a couple weeks before we left, we actually had 11 baptisms from the secondary school. And so it was a great way to kind of end, right as we left, a great little a note there at the end of our trip, of our tenure that time, of having new 11 brothers and sisters in Christ. But it's a result of things like this. It's a result of those good teachers in the school, studying with them, and it's always a blessing to see the fruit of those works coming out. One of the good congregations in Mbeya town, which is the first large city away from us in CHIMALA. We don't have any, what would you say, grocery stores, those kinds of things in CHIMALA. But the closest town is Mbeya, one of the faithful congregations there at Forest, an older congregation, but also, and maybe more importantly, a congregation that we're working to try to establish eldership. Many churches in Tanzania, in fact, I would say most churches, do not have elders. And it's been a challenge for really through all the time of mission work happening in Tanzania. But this is one congregation in particular that we think are very, very close. And we've had some lessons, some classes, seminars taught about leadership and the importance and necessity of eldership in a strong congregation. So please be praying for the Forest Church in Mbeya, that they can establish that eldership that they really are needing. Here's some cattle at one of the auctions we went to at Utengule, not too far from CHIMALA. Their auctions there are very different from what you would expect here. The way they treat the animals, the way they herd them and round them about, it's very different. It's not probably what you would be used to, but this is kind of a typical view of what they are. A lot of times they'll just take big buckets of paint. They'll throw paint on them and say, these are mine. So that's how they mark them. Sometimes they'll cut them. They do kind of all kinds of mutilation to them so people know whose are whose. And so when you go out into the marketplace looking to buy cattle, that's how you approach and do those things. But this was just one of those days as we were kind of getting started looking at adding some more cattle to the farm program. A few other updates. When we came back in 23, we actually just missed the last shipping container where we brought a lot of supplies and materials to the mission. One of the big ones was that bottom right is a portable x-ray machine. We have an x-ray at our hospital, but one of the challenges that we have in Tanzania is with power. X-rays take a lot of power, and when power goes out, there's no way you can run an x-ray. And when you've got motor accidents, you've got people coming in that need x-rays, and they can't because the utility company is not supplying power. It's a major problem. It's a major challenge. And so this portable x-ray actually runs on batteries, and it can run, it can do several x-rays on a charge, but it also has wheels, so you can move it around to the different wards and give them x-rays so that when the power's out, we can still provide that service. So that was put on the container a couple years ago, a huge benefit, huge blessing to the mission that several churches have helped to support. This one there in the bottom middle, you probably have no idea what that is, but this is some of the replacement parts we put in for our hydraulic ram pump. If you remember a couple years ago, we were having a major problem with water on the mission because this pump was failing. And so I know the Chapel Hill congregation has helped us raise the funds to replace that hydrum, to get those new parts that we needed. And it's because of your contribution, because of your help, that water has now returned back to the mission, and it's been working great. And so we're very grateful for that. I know it seems insignificant, but having good water on the mission was a necessity, and we're so very blessed for that. There on the top, these are new gas cookers at the schools. Most cooking throughout the country is with wood fire. Almost every home, they are always making wood fires to cook, to boil water, all of those things. But the country of Tanzania had put in a new edict for any public service, public areas. you were no longer allowed to use wood burning in those places, which frankly is crazy since like 90% of the country uses wood burning. But we wanted to abide by the new laws, and so we were able to install a complete gas cooking system at the schools, some of those big cookers, ovens, and some others as well. So again, another area of improvement, a big blessing from several congregations who helped us raise those funds. The picture there on the bottom left of a guy sitting in front of that building, this man is named Paulo. He is a Maasai, and if y'all know anything about Maasai, maybe you do. They're one of the local tribes. There's 120 tribes in Tanzania, but one of the largest tribes are the Maasai, and they run cattle. That's all that they do. They believe all cattle are theirs, traditionally, of course. And as we were running through the farm program, as we were trying to consider new ideas, new areas where we can raise funds or where we can improve and all those kinds of things, as we were looking at cattle, it kind of made sense to look at having a Maasai to help us since they do this for a living. And so this young man is now working with our cows. But the funny thing, I guess, is that his father is actually a faithful gospel preacher who's a Maasai. And this is his son, who's also a faithful Christian, but he was needing a job right around the time we were looking at starting this program. And so we were looking to try and find out who would fit all of these qualifications that we needed to work for us. And we just happened to find really the best candidate we could have asked for, a Maasai who knows cattle, who's a faithful Christian, and who needs a job. And so he met those areas. And so this was the first night we left him there at his new home. We're kind of driving away that evening. And so he is working with us now full-time with the cattle operation on the farm. As I mentioned, some of the challenges that we've had at the hospital, this last picture, some of y'all may know Brother Mark Teskey, a gospel preacher, but he has worked in hospital administration. He's worked with helping hospitals. And so he's one of the brothers that has come and visited with us, helping us in some of the challenges, as I said, with some of those clinics and how to turn the hospital and adjust it in the ways that it needs to be successful. And so we're thankful for him and wanted to highlight him just for a moment as a big benefit to our work. At the top there, we have one of our campaigns, or one of our seminars, I should say. Every year with the School of Preaching, we have a men's seminar, which is a preacher seminar, really, a women's seminar, and a children's seminar every single year. And we usually have about 100 people that come every single year. It's a week-long campaign. They'll come in on buses as their normal transport. Everyone comes in on public transportation. They all come in that Sunday night, Monday, and then the rest of the week we have campaigns or we have seminars. And so our current director, Bernard Kulonga, at one of the introductory classes to the preacher seminars. But it's always a wonderful event to have these men come, these really preachers from all over the country. They get some encouragement, they get some networking, they get some good fellowship with one another. And so an awesome opportunity that we have to reach these men, to give them some more training. Some of them have been preaching a long time. Some of them have been only preaching for a short time. But this is one of those opening classes Brother Bernard is a part of. And he is a new director. He was installed 2 years ago, one of our elders at the local congregation, a faithful gospel preacher, and also was a hospital administrator for about 20 years as well. So we thank him very, very much for his works on the mission. There in the middle is one of the secondary school classes. This is after one of their kind of a Bible Bowl competition they kind of do every single year. This is the class that participated. But the brother there on the far left is Samuel Vundwe, a gospel preacher, but also the kind of Bible director at the secondary school. And so he is a tremendous tool, a tremendous asset to the schools. We work together with him a lot for the children that are studying. But every single day, these kids have a Bible class. Every single day, studying Bible knowledge, Bible geography, Bible characters, all different ways. And so he's a huge asset to the school, invaluable, I would say, to teaching these kids. Because again, these are not all of these students come from Christian homes. They come from all over the place. They come from various denominational backgrounds. We've had Muslim children that have come to our school and be preached to. We've had Catholic students come to our school. And so we have a wide array of children that come to the schools. And because of men like him, we can evangelize to those children. And as I said, as a result, we do have conversions because of those works. Speaking of conversions, there's 5. There's a Maasai are very tall, and so I apologize. I cut off the head of that one young man there. But this is actually 6 young boys, 1 boy and 5 girls, all Maasai at the Matabete community where Paulo is from. And this was actually when we had just arrived back in 23, just after a couple of weeks. All of these young men and women put on Christ in baptism. Maasai are not the easiest to convert. They have a lot of traditions and spiritual relationships with their country and the land and people and those kinds of things. They have several wives, so that one's always challenging to get through when studying with them. But these are all young men and young women who had studied with the preacher there, Brother Patrick, another faithful gospel preacher for that Maasai, very special Maasai community. So again, grateful for them and their decision to put on Christ in baptism, and for Brother Patrick and all of those who studied with him as well. Those last 2 pictures that I haven't talked about yet, that's just some traditional food that you may or may have no interest in whatsoever. But they eat, this is kind of a typical meal of what we have over there. Ugali, rice, greens, some meat sauce, and what they call a chichandu, which is kind of a peas and peppers kind of a vegetable mix. But that's kind of typical of what a lunch would be. Oftentimes when you go to these seminars or you go to visit with people, that's something that they would prepare for people who come to visit. And then the water down here, this is Lake Malawi, a beautiful place. When we do have family come over, that's when we normally try to take a weekend getaway or something, 2 or 3 times a year. If we get a weekend, that's a blessing. And so I think my parents were here for this time, so me and Christy were able to visit there. And it's always important you take a weekend every few months to yourselves. And so we were blessed to be able to do that. But just a beautiful place. We're not too far from CHIMALA and the Livingston Mountain Range there. Some of you know Dr. David Livingston, one of the early missionaries to the continent of Africa. Those named after him there at Lake Malawi. So as I was mentioning earlier, our goal as missionaries, our goal as working with the CHIMALA mission is no different than any evangelism, really, at the end of the day. Our goal and our objective is to seek and to save the lost. And as I said, it may be through the schools, it may be through training preachers, it may be through, reaching out to people at the hospital who are sick, who are hurting, telling them of their great physician that they need. Whatever all of those things are, and however they all work together, the purpose is to seek and to save the lost. And I wanted to kind of show this final collage. These are all of the conversions that have taken place as a result of the CHIMALA mission over just these past 2 years. And we've had over 50 baptisms as a result of the work at CHIMALA. And I know in my newsletters, I usually always try to put them in and put their names in our newsletters. But I wanted all of you to be able to see them because they're real people. Sometimes we hear about people all over the ocean and we say, oh, that's wonderful, that's great. But you don't really ever see them or know anything about them. But all of these men and women, and again, many of these from the schools, I think over 30 from the schools. But again, as a result of the work of the CHIMALA mission. And so this is really a result of your efforts. This is really a result of your help for the CHIMALA mission that these things can take place. And so at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. At the end of the day, that's my number one objective. As much fun as we have working with projects in different areas, there's nothing more, there's no way you can feel more grateful than to see the young men and women put on Christ and be added to the Lord's church. I know we've got just a few more minutes, but I did want to share very quickly some of our needs with you. We have now been on the mission field for going on 5 years. And Lord willing, we're committing to 2 more years in CHIMALA. And so we have a few personal needs, but I also have some special requests for the mission as well. And I hope you can see at least some of those. Personally, we're looking to raise $1,000 of monthly support from where we are right now. And then on top of that, of course, donations for travel, airfare, all of those kinds of things. You are all aware of how costly things are to travel across the globe. So we're requesting those. We're looking for those needs. But then some of these special projects I want to talk about quickly for the mission. The first one here is a women's training seminar, and this is specifically for helping women learn to teach in Bible classes. And the reason this is, we're wanting to raise $3,000. The reason for that is because we have put together, it'll have materials, it has a lot of lessons, it has songbooks that are translated, it has all of these kinds of things almost in like a packet for women that are going to be coming to the mission next year. And so we're going to be hosting this kind of seminar to help train these women, but also to give them some resources so that they can go to their churches and they can and then train more of the other sisters in how to do classes, but also have visual aids, all of those kinds of things. And so this is one thing we're trying to raise some support for, some money for, to make sure that this takes place, as it's something that's very needed. A lot of times, the Bible classes for children are either non-existent or they're very, very inadequate. And so this is just one way that we think is a very, very important tool and would be able to help out the women who are helping with the children classes. On top of that, we have our annual campaigns for the CHIMALA School of Preaching. We usually try to do about $2,800 a month. That takes care of all the transportation, sleeping arrangements, all those kinds of things during those campaigns. But that's an annual thing that we're always trying to do. At the schools, we've had requests for a new laundry machine. When you got 650 students, you're doing a lot of laundry. And so we're looking for to replace one of those machines. About $3,000 is what we were given as an estimate. And then finally, at the primary school, this has been a long-standing problem, but the school is basically built beside a swamp. Is kind of how it was structured, and I don't know how or why it was ever designed that way back in the 90s, but it was. And so, as you can expect, the water system, the water situation, the water problem is tremendous there. And so we've been trying to find some ways to take care of those issues. And so we've had the administrators at the school work with some builders and some people there in CHIMALA, basically to just completely redo a septic system, not in the traditional sense of like indoor plumbing, but outside septic, and to make sure that we've got drainage everywhere, that water's never going to be an issue for the students at the school. But that'll be about a $10,000 project. Is what we have been quoted for that. So those are some of the big things that we're trying to raise some support for before we go home, or at least some of that before we return back to Tanzania. Again, there's 1,000 other things I could ask for as far as on the mission. We've been raising money for cattle, but actually just this week we've had someone from West Texas donate a lot of money for cattle. So, but if you still want to help us raise money for cattle, you're welcome to. But we always have projects. We always have things. That's what the mission is. It's kind of a project type of a place. And even for yourselves, if any of you ever have an interest to visit with us, we can put you on a project. We can put you on evangelism campaign. We can put you in a classroom. We can put you on the farm. We can put you basically anywhere to do a lot of the Lord's work. And so this is some of our contact information, our phone number, email, the address. This code just goes to the website. So if you want to sign up for the newsletter, if you're not able to see that, or if you'd like to donate or any of those kinds of things, much appreciate you very, very much. And so I'm going to close right there. We got like a minute, but I just want to again say thank you so much for allowing me to be with you this morning, for allowing me to take this class session, and also for each of you that help support the CHIMALA mission, that help support our family, that have kept us there for these past 5 years. And Lord willing, we want to keep working on the mission and helping to make sure that all of these works are continuing, that people are being reached, that people are being healed, people are being taught the gospel message. And so again, we thank you for allowing us to make that happen. So thank you very much. I don't know if we've got a minute for questions, but if anyone does have one, you're more than welcome.